The Vora homeworld was called Vorath. It was a large red planet with 2 moons and a population of 12 billion. It had never been attacked. Not once in its entire history. The Vora were conquerors, not victims. They took from others. No one took from them. Until now. The Black Fleet emerged from fold space in perfect formation. 3,000 warships arranged in a sphere around the planet. Their weapons powered up, and the night sky of Vorath turned bright with targeting lasers. Admiral Hannah looked at the main screen. She could see the Vora defense fleet scrambling to respond. Ships launching from orbital stations. Ground batteries activating. Emergency calls going out to every Vora colony in the sector. It would not be enough. Admiral, her communications officer said, "We are receiving a transmission from the Vora government. They are demanding to know our intentions." Hannah almost smiled. "Almost. Put me through." A moment later, a Vora face appeared on the screen. It was an old male, dressed in the robes of a high official. His 4 eyes were wide with fear. "Human Commander," he said. "I am First Minister Grath. I speak for the Vora Empire. What is the meaning of this hostile action?" Hannah leaned back in a chair. "You attacked our colony. You killed 30,000 civilians. You laughed while you did it. And now you ask the meaning of our hostile action?" "That was General Koth," Grath said quickly. "He acted without authority. We will punish him. We will." "Your general sent his recordings to the entire galaxy. Your government broadcast them as entertainment. Your people celebrated in the streets." Hannah's voice was cold. "Do not insult me with lies." Grath's composure broke. His voice became desperate. "What do you want? Territory? Resources? Slaves? We will give you whatever you demand. Name your price. I do not want your territory. I do not want your resources. I do not want your slaves." Hannah stood up from her chair. "I want you to remember." "Remember what?" "What happens when you hurt the people we love?" She made a small gesture. "The Black Fleet opened fire, but not on the cities. Not on the civilians. The humans did not target homes or schools or hospitals. They targeted military bases, orbital stations, weapons factories, shipyards, command centers. Every piece of the Vora war machine was hit at the same time. Explosions blossomed across the planet like deadly flowers. The 2 moons, which housed major military installations, cracked and broke apart under concentrated bombardment. It took less than an hour. When it was done, the Vora Empire had no military left. No ships, no weapons, no soldiers. Everything they had built over centuries of conquest was gone, but not a single civilian area had been touched. Farms and homes and cities stood untouched while the bases around them burned. First Minister Grath stared at his ruined world. His mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Hannah appeared on his screen again. "We are not like you," she said. "We do not kill innocents for pleasure. We do not murder children. We do not enslave the helpless. We are human. We are better than that." She paused. "But we are also human. And when someone hurts our family, we hurt them back. Harder, faster, worse. That is also what we are. Kindness and cruelty, mercy and wrath, both live inside us. We choose which one to show." She leaned closer to the screen. "You saw our kindness for 3 years. Tonight, you saw our wrath. Remember both. And tell your children to remember. Tell your grandchildren. Tell everyone who will ever meet a human for the rest of time." She straightened up. "We were polite because we chose to be. Do not ever make us choose differently again." The transmission ended. Captain Tay stood on the bridge of the quiet moon, watching the feed from Vorath. His crew was silent around him. No one knew what to say. Finally, Me spoke. "Captain, Admiral Hannah is sending a fleet-wide message." Tay listened. This is Admiral Hannah. The mission is complete. The Vora military has been neutralized. Civilian casualties, 0. We will now withdraw and return to human space." She paused. "You have all done your duty. You have shown the galaxy what we are capable of. Now we will show them something else. We will return to being polite. We will smile and bow and say please and thank you. We will be kind." Another pause. "Because that is the choice we make. Every day, we choose to be good. We choose peace over war. Love over hate. Mercy over cruelty. That is what makes us human. Not our weapons. Not our power. Our choice." Her voice softened slightly. "Never forget that. Never let anyone make you forget. Now go home. See your families. Rest. We have earned it." The Black Fleet began to withdraw. One by one, the ships jumped into fold space, disappearing like shadows at dawn. In the Galactic Council chamber, the delegates watched in absolute silence. The screen showed the Vora homeworld. Burning military bases. Crumbling moons. A once mighty empire reduced to nothing in a single night, and not a single child harmed. General Koff was on his knees. His face was gray. He had watched his homeworld be stripped of everything that made the Vora powerful. He had seen his people become helpless in the span of an hour. Elder Korvac looked down at him. "You wanted to teach the humans a lesson," the old alien said. "It seems they have taught you one instead." Koff said nothing. There was nothing to say. The chamber doors opened. Ambassador Yuna walked in. She looked the same as always. Simple dark blue dress. Hair tied back neatly. Calm face. She walked to the center of the chamber and stopped. She looked around at the delegates, at the screens, at the broken general on the floor. Then she smiled. It was a warm smile. A friendly smile. The same smile she had worn for 3 years. "I apologize for the disturbance," she said. Her voice was soft and polite. "I hope we have not caused too much trouble." No one laughed. No one whispered. No one moved. Yuna bowed, her hands pressed together in front of her chest. "Earth has no further requests at this time," she continued. "We only wish to thank the Council for its patience. We look forward to continued peaceful relations with all species." She looked at General Koth. "All species," she repeated. Then she turned and walked to her seat in the outer ring. She sat down, folded her hands in her lap, and waited for the next speaker. The council chamber remained silent for a very long time. Elder Korvac was the first to speak. "The council recognizes the events of this day," he said carefully. "Let it be recorded that the Vora Empire initiated unprovoked hostilities against the human colony of New Dawn. Let it also be recorded that humanity responded with force, but limited their retaliation to military targets only." He looked at Yuna. "Let it finally be recorded that the humans have expressed their desire for continued peace. The council welcomes this." Yuna bowed her head slightly. "Thank you, Elder." The session continued. Other business was discussed, but no one really paid attention. They were all thinking about what they had seen, about the hidden fleet, about the terrible, precise violence, about the cold fury in Admiral Hannah's eyes, and about the smile on Ambassador Yuna's face afterward. That warm, polite, terrifying smile. When the session ended, Yuna walked through the corridors toward her ship. This time, everyone moved out of her way. No one laughed. No one insulted her. They pressed themselves against the walls and watched her pass with wide eyes. She smiled at each of them. She nodded politely. She even said, "Excuse me," and "Thank you," when appropriate. At the door to her ship, she paused. June was waiting for her inside. "Ambassador," he said, "the Prime Minister sends her congratulations. Earth is celebrating." Yuna nodded. "That is good. What do we do now?" Yuna looked back at the station, at the hundreds of alien eyes watching her through windows and doorways. "Now we go back to being polite," she said. "We bow. We smile. We apologize for small things. We ask nicely, and if they forget again?" Yuna was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft but carried an edge of steel. "They will not forget. Not in 100 years. Not in 1,000. She smiled again, and this time June could see the ice behind her eyes. "But if they do, we will remind them." She walked into the ship. The door closed behind her. In the council chamber, Elder Korvac sat alone in the darkness. He was old. He had seen many things. But today he had seen something new. He had seen what happened when humanity stopped being polite, and he knew, with absolute certainty, that the galaxy would never make that mistake again. Deep beneath the ice of Earth's North Pole, there was a door that had not been opened in 80 years. It was made of metal 3 meters thick. It had no handle, no keyhole, no visible way to open it. It simply sat there, frozen and silent, waiting. Admiral Hannah stood before that door now. She was 60 years old, with silver hair cut short and a face full of old scars. She had fought in Earth's last war, long before first contact. She remembered what war looked like. She remembered what it smelled like. She had hoped to never see it again. Her aide, a young officer named Sung, stood beside her. "Admiral, the authorization codes have been confirmed," Sung said. "The Prime Minister has given the order. We are cleared to proceed." Hannah nodded slowly. She pressed her palm against a hidden panel in the ice wall. There was a soft beep, then a rumble. Then the massive door began to open. Behind it was a tunnel that went down into the darkness. Sung shined a light into it, but the beam disappeared into nothing. It went down very, very far. "What is down there, Admiral?" Sung asked quietly. "I have never heard of this place." Hannah started walking. "History, Lieutenant. The kind we hope to forget." They walked for 10 minutes. Down and down and down. The air grew warmer, then hot. Then they emerged into a cavern so large that Sung gasped. Ships. Hundreds of ships. Thousands of ships. They filled the cavern like sleeping giants, their black hulls gleaming under emergency lights. They were not like the small patrol vessels humans showed to the galaxy. These were monsters, warships, destroyers, carriers, dreadnoughts. "This is impossible," Sung whispered. "We told the council we had no military." "We said, we lied," Hannah said simply. "We always knew this day might come. We hoped it would not, but we prepared anyway. This is the Black Fleet. It has been waiting here since before first contact, waiting for the day when politeness stopped working." She walked to a control panel and began entering commands. One by one, the ships started to wake up. Lights flickered on. Engines began to hum. The cavern filled with the sound of power. "How many ships, Admiral?" Sung asked. 3,000 combat vessels. Another 2,000 support ships. Enough firepower to crack a planet in half. Hannah's voice was flat, tired. "We spent 100 years building this. 100 years of taxes and secrets and lies. All for a day we prayed would never come. And now it has come." "Yes." Hannah turned to face her aide. "And now everyone who died on New Dawn will be answered. Every child who burned. Every mother who screamed. Every father who tried to protect his family and failed. They will all be answered." Within hours, the Black Fleet launched. They rose from beneath the ice like ghosts, thousands of dark shapes blocking out the stars. They moved in perfect formation, silent and deadly at the same time. Across human space, other hidden bases opened. Ships that had been disguised as cargo vessels dropped their fake hulls to reveal weapons underneath. Soldiers who had been working as farmers and teachers put on armor and picked up rifles. The galaxy had thought humanity was unarmed. They were wrong. Captain Tay and the Quiet Moon had arrived at New Dawn the day before. They found only ashes and bones and Vora soldiers celebrating their victory. Tay did not attack. He did not have the firepower. Instead, he hid his ship in the shadow of a nearby moon and watched. He recorded everything. He counted the enemy ships. He noted their positions, and he waited. "Captain," Mi said from her station, "I am detecting something. Multiple fold space signatures. Coming from the direction of Earth. How many?" Tay asked. Mi was quiet for a moment. Then her voice cracked. "Thousands, Captain. There are thousands of them." The Black Fleet emerged from fold space like a nightmare coming true. One moment, the sky around New Dawn was filled with Vora ships. The next moment, it was filled with something else entirely. The Vora commander, a junior officer who had been left in charge while General Koth played politics at the council, stared at his sensors in disbelief. "That is not possible," he said. "The humans have no fleet. They have no weapons." His ship exploded. Admiral Hannah sat on the bridge of her flagship, the Silent Justice. Around her, officers worked with calm efficiency. No shouting, no panic, just quiet, focused destruction. "Target their command ships first," Hannah ordered. "Then their carriers. Leave no escape routes. No survivors." "The Admiral, they are sending a surrender signal," one of her officers reported. Hannah shook her head. "They did not accept surrender from the people of New Dawn. They burned children. They enslaved survivors." They laughed. She leaned forward in her chair. "No surrender. No mercy. Not today." The battle lasted 3 hours. It should have lasted longer, but the Vora were not prepared. They had expected to face sheep. Instead, they faced wolves. Human weapons were strange to the galaxy. Other species used energy beams, plasma bolts, magnetic projectiles. Humans used all of these, but they also used things no one else had thought of. Weapons that ate through shields like acid. Missiles that split into 100 smaller missiles. Electronic attacks that turned enemy ships against each other. And worst of all, the humans fought with a cold, patient fury that the Vora had never seen. They did not waste shots. They did not make mistakes. They moved like a machine designed for one purpose only: destruction. By the end of the 3rd hour, every Vora ship around New Dawn was gone. Not captured. Not disabled. Gone. Debris floated where a fleet had been. Captain Tay watched from his hidden position. His crew was silent. Mi was crying again, but this time they were different tears. "Captain," she said, "the Admiral is sending a message to all human ships." Tay listened. Admiral Hannah's voice came through the speakers. It was steady and hard. "This is Admiral Hannah to all human vessels. New Dawn has been liberated. The enemy fleet has been destroyed. But we are not done. We are just beginning." She paused. "Set course for the Vora homeworld. Full speed. No stops. No delays. We end this tonight." The Black Fleet turned as one and jumped back into fold space. Captain Tay followed without hesitation. The Quiet Moon was small, but it would witness what came next. In the Galactic Council chamber, the delegates watched the battle footage in stunned silence. They saw the human ships emerge from nowhere. They saw the Vora fleet destroyed in hours. They saw weapons they did not understand doing things they thought were impossible. General Koth was pale. His 4 hands were shaking. "This cannot be real," he said. "This is a trick. Some kind of illusion." Elder Korvac turned to look at him. The old alien's face showed no pity. "It is real, General. The humans were never weak. They were never harmless. They were polite. There is a difference. and you just taught them to stop being polite. Koth stood up. I must return to my homeworld. You will never make it in time, Elder Korvac said. Their fleet is faster than anything you have. They will reach your world before you are halfway there. Koth's face twisted with fear and rage. Then stop them. The council must intervene. They cannot be allowed to. We cannot stop them, Elder Korvac interrupted. And even if we could, I'm not sure we would. He looked at the screen, where the human fleet was already disappearing into fold space. You wanted to see humanity's true face, General. You are about to get your wish. The Galactic Council chamber was full. Every seat was taken. Every species was represented. Word had spread quickly about what Devora had done to New Dawn. Now everyone wanted to see what would happen next. Ambassador Yuna walked to the center of the chamber. She looked the same as always. Simple dark blue dress. Hair tied back neatly. Calm face. Quiet steps. That those who looked closely might have noticed something different. Her movements were slower. More controlled. Like someone walking through water. Or like someone holding something inside that wanted to explode. She bowed, as she always did. Honored members of the council, she said. Thank you for allowing me to speak. General Koth was sitting with the Vara delegation, his forearms crossed over his massive chest. He was smiling. He had been smiling since he entered the chamber. Ambassador, Elder Korvac said from his seat of honor. We have all seen the images from New Dawn. This is a grave matter. Please, share your thoughts. Yuna nodded. Thank you, Elder. I come before you today to formally request the Council's intervention. The Vara Empire has attacked a peaceful human colony without warning or reason. They have killed 30,000 innocent civilians. They have taken survivors as slaves. This is a violation of Council law. Whispers moved through the chamber. The Council did have laws against unprovoked attacks. But laws only mattered if someone was willing to enforce them. General Koth stood up. He did not ask for permission to speak. He simply spoke. The humans were in our space, he lied. They refused to leave. We were within our rights to remove them. That is not true, Yuna said. Her voice was still calm. New Dawn was in neutral territory. It had been there for 12 years. The Vara never objected before. Koth shrugged his four shoulders. We are objecting now. The humans are weak. They spread like insects. Someone had to teach them their place. Some of the council members looked uncomfortable. Others looked bored. A few nodded in agreement with Koth. Elder Korvac raised a wrinkled hand. General Koth, your actions were extreme. However, the council has no standing military force. We cannot compel the Vara to do anything. Koth laughed out loud. You see, Ambassador? The council is as weak as your people. No one will help you. No one can stop us. We will do what we want, when we want, to whoever we want. He walked down from his seat and approached Yuna. He towered over her, more than twice her height. His shadow fell across her like darkness. You should bow again, little human, he said. Bow and apologize. Maybe I will let some of your people live as slaves. It is more than you deserve. The chamber was completely silent. Everyone watched. Everyone waited. Yuna looked up at General Koth. Her face was still calm. Her voice was still soft. I came here in good faith, she said. I asked for help through proper channels. I followed every rule. I was polite. Yes, yes, Koth said, waving a hand dismissively. You are always polite. That is why you are weak. Something changed in Yuna's eyes. It was small, quick, like a door closing. I see, she said. She reached up to the translator pin on her collar. She held it for a moment. Then, slowly, carefully, she removed it Ambassador? Elder Korvik said. What are you doing? Una did not answer him. She placed the translator pin on the floor in front of her feet. She straightened her back. She looked directly at General Koth. When she spoke again, her voice was different. It was not loud. It was not angry. It was cold, empty, like the space between stars. Polite mode disengaged. Koth blinked. What did you say? I said. Polite mode disengaged. Una smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of something with teeth. You wanted to see what humans are like when we stop being nice. So let me show you. She turned to face the entire council. Her voice carried through the chamber without effort. For 3 years, I have stood in this chamber and bowed. I have apologized for things that were not my fault. I have smiled while your species insulted mine. I have asked nicely. I have followed your rules. And what has it gotten my people? 30,000 dead. Our children burned alive. Our elderly shot in the streets. Our survivors in chains. She paused. The silence was absolute. So here is what is going to happen now. I am not asking anymore. I am telling. General Koth reached for the weapon at his side. You dare threaten us? You are one small woman. I could crush you where you stand. Una looked at him. She was not afraid. She was not even worried. She looked at him like he was an insect. You could try, she said, but I would not recommend it. Because right now, back on Earth, a very important decision is being made. Our government is voting on whether to activate something we have kept hidden for a long time. Something we hoped we would never need again. You have nothing, Koth sneered. Your military is tiny. Your ships are weak. You have no. We have exactly what we want you to think we have, Una interrupted. That was the point. We wanted to seem weak. We wanted you to underestimate us. We wanted peace. But you did not want peace. You wanted to hurt us. So now you will see what we really are. She looked at the council delegates, one by one. You all know human history, yes? You studied us before we joined. Then you know what we are capable of. You know about our wars, our weapons, our capacity for destruction. You thought we had changed. You thought we had become gentle. She shook her head slowly. We did not change. We just learned to control ourselves. We learned to be polite because we knew what would happen if we were not. Our politeness was a gift, a choice, a kindness that we extended to the galaxy. She looked back at Koth. You just threw that gift in our faces. You killed our people for fun. You laughed while you did it. And now you expect us to bow again? To apologize again? She stepped closer to him. He was so much bigger than her, but somehow, in that moment, she seemed larger. We are not going to apologize. We are not going to bow. We are not going to ask for permission or follow your rules anymore. We are going to respond. And when we are done, you are going to wish you had never heard the word human. Koth's smile was gone now. Something in her voice had finally reached him. Something old. Something dangerous. You are bluffing, he said, but his voice was less certain. Una tilted her head slightly. Am I? Look at my face, General. Look at my eyes. Do I look like I'm bluffing? He looked. And for the first time in his long life, General Koth felt something he had never felt before. Fear. Yun. It turned away from him. She walked back to the center of the chamber. To the council. This is your last chance. Stand with us or stand aside. Any species that helps the Vora will be treated as an enemy. Any species that stays neutral will be left alone. But the Vora themselves. She looked at the Vora delegation. Her smile was gone. Her face was stone. The Vora will learn why humans spent so long teaching ourselves to be kind. They will understand why we chose peace. They will see what we were trying to protect the galaxy from. She turned and walked toward the exit. Wait, Elder Korvac called out. Ambassador, please. What are you going to do? Una stopped at the door. She did not turn around. Exactly what our nature demands, she said. What our ancestors always did when someone hurt our families. She walked out. Behind her, the council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates were shouting, arguing, demanding answers. General Koth was screaming orders at his soldiers. Elder Korvac was trying to restore calm, but Una did not hear any of it. She was already thinking about what came next, about the messages that were being sent, about the ships that were being activated, about the soldiers who were putting on armor that had not been worn in generations. Humanity's polite mode was off, and the galaxy was about to remember why that was terrifying. The colony was called New Dawn. It sat on a small green planet at the edge of human space. 40,000 people lived there. Farmers, teachers, doctors, children. They had built homes and schools and hospitals. They had planted gardens and raised families. They believed they were safe. The morning started like any other. The sun rose over the eastern mountains. Children walked to school. Workers went to their jobs. An old woman named Soon sat on her porch, drinking tea and watching the clouds dot. Then the sky turned red. The first Vora ship came out of nowhere. It was massive and black, shaped like a blade. Behind it came more ships, 10, 20, 50. They blocked out the sun like a swarm of locusts. Soon dropped her teacup. It shattered on the wooden floor. The Vora did not send a warning. They did not demand surrender. They simply opened fire. Buildings exploded into flames. Streets cracked and broke apart. People ran screaming, but there was nowhere to run. The Vora landing ships came down like falling rocks, crushing homes beneath them. Soldiers poured out. They were huge and terrible, with their red skin and 4 arms and weapons that glowed with deadly light. They shot at everything that moved. They laughed as they killed. A young father named Day grabbed his daughter and ran toward the emergency shelters. He could hear the screams behind him. He could smell the smoke and the burning. He did not look back. He could not look back. They almost made it. A Vora soldier stepped in front of them. He was grinning. His weapon was pointed at Day's chest. "Where are you going, little human?" The soldier asked. Day pushed his daughter behind him. "Please," he said. "She is just a child. Please let her go." The soldier laughed. "Your people are so polite, even when they die." He raised his weapon dot in a small patrol ship 3 days away. Captain Tay was having lunch. He was 42 years old, a career military officer with gray starting to show in his short black hair. His ship was called the Quiet Moon, and it carried a crew of 40. They were on a routine patrol mission. Nothing exciting ever happened on routine patrols. Tay was eating rice and vegetables when his communications officer, a young woman named Me, suddenly went pale. "Captain," she said. Her voice was shaking. "We are receiving a distress signal from New Dawn Colony." Tay put down his chopsticks. "What kind of distress?" Me listened to her headset. Her eyes went wide. Tears started to fall down her cheeks. "They are being attacked, Captain. The Vora, they came without warning. They are killing everyone." The mess hall went silent. Every crew member stopped what they were doing. They all looked at their captain. Tay stood up slowly. His face was calm, but his hands had formed into fists. "How long until we can reach them?" 3 days at maximum speed, Captain. 3 days. Tay closed his eyes. In 3 days, everyone on New Dawn would be dead. "Send a message to Earth Command," he said. "Send it to every human ship in range. Tell them what is happening." "Yes, Captain." Tay walked to the bridge. His crew followed him in silence. On the main screen, they could see the distress signal. They could hear the voices. "This is New Dawn Colony. We are under attack. Vora forces are killing civilians. Please, someone help us. Please." The voice belonged to a woman. She sounded young. She was crying. "My children," she said. "They killed my children. They are laughing. They are laughing while they kill us." Then there was a scream. Then silence. The crew of the Quiet Moon stood frozen. Some were crying. Some looked angry. Some looked like they might be sick. Tay's face did not change. But something changed behind his eyes. Something old and cold and dangerous woke up inside him. "Set course for New Dawn," he said. "Maximum speed." His first officer, a man named Wu, stepped forward. "Captain, with respect, what can we do? We are one small patrol ship. The Vara have a war fleet. We will die." Tay turned to look at him. "We will do what we can. We will witness. And we will remember." The Quiet Moon jumped to faster than light speed. The stars stretched into lines around them. On New Dawn, the killing continued. The Vora were not in a hurry. They took their time. They wanted to enjoy themselves. General Koth himself walked through the burning streets, watching his soldiers work. "You see?" he said to Drax. "This is how you deal with weak species. You remind them of their place. You show them pain. They will never forget this lesson." Drax nodded, but he looked uncomfortable. "General, some of the other council species may object. The humans have not attacked us. They have done nothing wrong." Koth laughed. "That is exactly why I am doing this. The humans think politeness will protect them. They think bowing and apologizing will keep them safe. I am teaching them that only strength matters. Only power." He kicked a piece of debris out of his way. It had been a child's toy. "Besides," Koth continued, "what will the council do? Send an angry letter? The humans have no allies. No one will fight for them. They are alone." By the end of the first day, New Dawn was in ruins. 30,000 people were dead. The survivors were being rounded up as slaves. The Vara recorded everything, sending the images back to their homeworld as entertainment. They also sent copies to the Galactic Council. A message came with the images. "This is what happens to the weak. Earth can apologize all at once. It will not save them." In the council chamber, the delegates watched in shocked silence. Some looked away. Some looked interested. A few even smiled. Elder Kovac watched with his 3 eyes. His old face showed no emotion, but he gripped his walking staff so tightly that his knuckles turned white. Ambassador Yuna was not there. She had received her own copy of the images. She was alone in her quarters, watching on a small screen. She watched the fire. She watched the death. She watched the Vora soldiers laughing as they killed innocent people. Her face was completely still. Her eyes were dry. She did not cry. When the images ended, she sat in silence for a long time. Then she reached up and touched the small pin on her collar. It was her translator device. It also served as her connection to Earth's government. "This is Ambassador Yuna," she said quietly. "I am requesting an emergency connection to the Prime Minister." A moment later, a tired voice answered. "Ambassador, we have seen the images. What do you want to do?" Yuna looked at the blank screen in front of her. "I want to address the council," she said. "One final time. And if they do not help?" Yuna was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was different, harder, colder. "Then we stop asking." On the Quiet Moon, Captain Tay stood at the helm as his ship raced toward New Dawn. He knew he would arrive too late to save anyone. He knew he might die. He did not care. All he could think about was the sound of that woman's voice. The sound of her scream. The silence after. He had been a soldier for 20 years. He had trained for war, but never fought one. Humans did not fight wars anymore. They talked. They negotiated. They found peaceful solutions, but there was no peaceful solution for this. There was no negotiation that could bring back the dead. There was no apology that could undo what had been done. For the first time in his life, Captain Tay felt something he had only read about in history books. Something his ancestors had felt many times: cold, patient, burning rage. And he was not alone. All across human space, soldiers and sailors and pilots were feeling the same thing. They were quiet and polite, yes. But beneath that politeness was something else. Something the galaxy had forgotten. Humans knew how to be kind. But they also knew how to be something else entirely. And the Vora had just reminded them. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was filled with beings from 100 different worlds. Some had scales. Some had feathers. Some floated in special water tanks. And some looked like nothing anyone on Earth had ever imagined. But today, all eyes were on the small human woman who stood at the center of the chamber. Her name was Una. She was 34 years old. And she had been Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council for 3 years now. She wore a simple dark blue dress, and her black hair was tied back neatly. She bowed low, her hands pressed together in front of her chest. "I must apologize," she said, her voice soft and calm. "Our transport ship was delayed by a minor engine problem. I hope I have not caused any trouble for this honored assembly." The delegates whispered to each other. The Korvax representative, a tall creature covered in gray feathers, made a sound like laughter. "The humans apologize again," he said to his assistant. "They always apologize. For everything." This was true. In the 3 years since humanity had joined the Galactic Council, they had become known for one thing above all else. They were polite. Extremely polite. Almost strangely polite. When a Vora ship had accidentally bumped into a human cargo vessel, the human captain had apologized for being in the way. When the Zelith Empire had insulted Earth's small military fleet, the human response had been a gentle request for better understanding between their peoples. When other species demanded resources or territory, humans would smile and try to find a peaceful solution. Many species thought this meant humans were weak. Elder Korvac, the oldest member of the council, watched Una with his 3 eyes. He had seen many species join the galactic community over his long life. Some came with fire and anger. Some came with tricks and lies. But humans? Humans came with bows and apologies and soft words. "Ambassador Una," Elder Korvac said, his deep voice echoing through the hall. "You may take your seat. Your delay is forgiven." Una bowed again. "Thank you, Elder. You are most kind." She walked to her seat, which was placed in the outer ring of the chamber. This was where new species sat. The important species sat in the inner rings, closer to the center. Humans had been in the outer ring since they arrived. No one expected them to move any closer. As Una sat down, she noticed the Vora delegation watching her. There were 5 of them, all large and muscular, with dark red skin and 4 arms each. The Vora were known as warriors. They had conquered 12 worlds in the past century. They respected only strength. General Koth, the leader of the Vora delegation, looked at Una with something like disgust. To him, humans were little better than insects. They had no great military. They had no history of conquest. They just smiled and bowed and said please and thank you. "Look at her," Koth said to his second-in-command. "So small. So weak. I could break her with one hand." His second-in-command, a younger Vora named Drax, nodded. "I have studied the humans, General. They have weapons, but they never use them. They talk about peace constantly. They even apologized to enemies who attacked them. Koth laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Then they are fools. The galaxy belongs to the strong. The weak exist only to serve. Across the chamber, Yuna heard their laughter. Her translator picked up most of what they said, though she pretended not to notice. Her face remained calm and pleasant. She even smiled a little, but if anyone had looked very closely at her eyes in that moment, they might have seen something else there. Something cold. Something patient. Something waiting. The council session continued. Various species made reports and requests. The Korvax wanted more mining rights. The Zealoth were complaining about trade routes. The Vora demanded that a smaller species give up 2 of their planets, calling it a fair exchange for not destroying them completely. Through it all, Yuna sat quietly. When it was her turn to speak, she stood and bowed. Earth has no major requests at this time, she said. We only wish to thank the Council for allowing us to be part of this great community. We hope to learn from all of you and to one day contribute meaningfully to galactic peace. More whispers. More quiet laughter. Elder Korvac nodded slowly. Earth's humility is noted, Ambassador. Perhaps other species could learn from your example. General Koth made a rude noise, but said nothing. After the session ended, Yuna walked through the station's corridors toward her ship. The halls were crowded with aliens of all types. Many ignored her. Some looked at her with curiosity. A few looked at her with open contempt. She passed a group of Vora soldiers. They did not move out of her way. She had to step around them, nearly pressing herself against the wall. "Excuse me," she said politely. "My apologies for any inconvenience." The soldiers laughed after she passed. On her ship, Yuna sat alone in her quarters. She looked out the window at the stars. Her assistant, a young man named June, knocked on her door. "Ambassador? Are you all right?" "I saw what happened in the corridor." Yuna turned to him. Her face was still calm, but there was something different in her voice now. Something tired. "I am fine, June. Thank you for asking." June hesitated. "Ambassador, may I speak freely?" "Of course. Why do we allow them to treat us this way? Earth has weapons. We have soldiers. We are not as weak as they think." Yuna was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was very soft. "Do you know why we are polite, June? It is not because we are weak. It is because we know what we are capable of when we stop being polite. Our history is filled with blood and fire. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times. We learned, through great pain, that peace is precious. That kindness is strength." She looked back at the stars. "We are polite because we choose to be. We bow because it costs us nothing and gains us much. We apologize because it keeps the peace. But never mistake our politeness for weakness. Never think that because we choose not to fight, we cannot fight." June nodded slowly. "I understand, Ambassador." "Good." Yuna smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. "Now, let us hope the galaxy never has to learn that lesson the hard way." Somewhere in the darkness of space, a Vora war fleet was already moving toward Earth's outer colony. They carried enough weapons to burn a world. Their orders were simple: take what they wanted and crush anyone who resisted. They expected no resistance at all, Dodd. They were very, very wrong.